Let's talk a little bit about the AI stuff. So you work in the AI field, so I'm interested in. I haven't asked anyone in a while. Before I say anything, what do you think about writers using AI? How they could use it? Like, what's kind of the path there? I guess.
Yeah, I think that one, I think there's a lot of gray. And so I think if we try to come at the conversation with this very black or white view, I think that we forget, or sometimes people forget, AI is already a part of your everyday life. Did you use Google today? You used AI, right?
Mm.
Most of the applications on your phone, it's really ubiquitous at this point. So I just want to be super clear that there's a lot of ethical applications for AI, and there's a lot of areas where AI does make life better. Now, what AI is good at that humans are not so good at is pattern recognition in big data. And that's what I do. I work in big data. And so when we're using AI to process large amounts of data and do things that humans are not very good at and often are bored and not fulfilled doing, then I think that's a great application. And so if we're talking about that, in the space of writing, I think things like if you use Grammarly to go through and spell check and check that you have the correct words in, and maybe it does a little bit of grammar, great. Now you have a much cleaner manuscript when you go to your editor, who should still, in my opinion, still be a human because one, by the way, I'm not very good at grammar. Like, that is not my strong point. And so I've been researching on it, and I've noticed part of the problem with grammar is like even humans don't agree, right? So some of it is like you have to
Right.
know all the rules. Then you have to know which ones you're keeping and which ones you're breaking and why. And that's pretty nuanced, which is maybe something that's harder for an AI to do versus if you have
And
an editor that you have. Yeah, go ahead.
and based on opinion, like it's nuanced,
Exactly.
and then depending on who you
Yes.
talk to, it could
Yeah.
mean, yeah. I totally agree.
Which is why I think having an editor who knows your voice, knows your intention, and knows how to use the rules that make sense for you, that's going to be a come through and be, I think, a lot better writing experience and a better reading experience for the reader, than if you are just going off of some rigid rules from an AI.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't. I don't see any issues using things like Grammarly and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, spell check's been around forever, and it's just
Yep.
a more advanced version of that. Um, I struggle with when people are just straight up like using an AI to write all of the book, and the
I
only
agree.
reason
Yeah.
I don't really like, I guess, care per se. The only reason I think it is interesting is because if you want to be a writer, isn't the point to actually write, you
Yep.
know?
I
So if you're
agree.
just using the AI to like type all your prose, well then it's like why are you even doing it, you know?
And I think something to consider on the generative AI side. So that side where it is, let's say, writing the book for you, is thinking about how those algorithms are created. And those are created by feeding them tons of data from existing novels, right? Existing works. And that's how they learn. And one of the things that I'm curious about is if we did really go down this track of, all right, AI is going to do all our art, AI is going to do all our writing, humans are, we're not doing this anymore. I think that unless there are advances in the algorithms, we would stagnate because now they're only going off of the existing examples, and there's only going to be so many variations. Now that's a lot of variations. Don't get me wrong; it's a lot. It's big
Hmm.
data, but
Hmm.
I think that we would see that a lot of things are kind of feel the same, and you're no longer going to see those moments where like, look, writing changed here, or look, art changed here because someone came in and thought about it differently.
Hmm.
And so I think that's something to consider as well, is if we want to keep seeing evolution in art, I think that at least at this point, comes from humans.
Yeah. The human side brings the innovation to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one way I've kind of experimented with it is like creating a custom chat GPT basically. And like I turn off the internet and I gave it like the rules are like it's not allowed to write anything, and then just giving it like my outlines and like stuff about um my characters and whatever to basically just be a reference guide for me. So like you said,
Oh
like
yeah.
processing the data, like it's hard, it's a lot of work for me to like go through it all and make sure but if I can be like,
Yeah.
hey, what does this character do in chapter 1,
Yeah.
you know? So that's
Totally.
kind of how I've been experimenting with it. It's more like a research assistant, essentially.
Our CEO loves to put our meetings, like our recorded meetings, in ChatGPT and then get the outline and the takeaway and send it out to
Yeah.
everybody, which is like, it's that same type of thing, right? Where it's like, it's maybe just organizing everything that you have for you in a more digestible way. I think that's
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I've yet to run into anyone in particular who's like they want to totally write their book with AI. Most people are, if they are using it, it's some kind of something like that or like Grammarly or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think people also still want to have a creator to connect to, you know. Um like part of the reason I like Lord of the Rings is because I also like J.R.R. Tolkien,
Yeah.
you know. I
I know.
like
It's
learning
nice
about
to
his
see the
life
human
and
behind. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
definitely.